Welcome to our third International Alumni Careers panel. My name's Gemma O'Donoghue and I'm the Careers Consultant for International Students. We also have with us today Naomi Irving, who is the International Alumni Engagement Manager as well. So everybody knows probably Naomi because we have lots of alumni in this session as well. We have a lovely, wonderful panel of 4 people today who are all from our China alumni network in the UK who have come very kindly back to talk about their jobs, how they secured their jobs. I'm going to go through the panel in the order of the picture on the screen, and I will ask a few questions, and then at the end we will open up questions to students and alumni who are in the audience. If you have any other questions throughout, please feel free to put them on the chat. If you don't want to be in the recording, just keep your camera off until I stop the recording. So let's start with Jia Shuang. I'm going to stop sharing that slide so that we can see you. So please, could you just start by introducing yourself and tell us what you studied and what year you graduated?
Hello, I'm Zhiqing Zhou, and I study economics and accounting, and I'm a first year in undergraduate.
Lovely, thank you. Apologies, I think our first speaker's not here yet, so we're going to move on to Yongli, if that's okay. So could you just introduce yourself, tell us what you studied and when you graduated?
Yeah, I just realized there's a mistake in that poster. So I started MSc on System on Chip. I think it says MSD in the picture, but it's a very similar course. So I did this.
Yeah, I think it's changed now. Yeah, on chip doesn't exist maybe anymore. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's no longer the SOC course anymore. But yeah, I did master degree on System on Chip. And then that's 2009 to 2010, and then I started a PhD after that. So I graduated PhD 2014. So I did the PhD in the ECS. I hope that's still the name.
Yes. Yep.
And then I joined after I graduated from PhD till now.
Wonderful. And could you tell us about the job that you're doing now?
So I work as a CPU verification engineer at Arm. So basically, we're verifying the CPU IP that's developed in Arm. So I've been working on that for, virtually the past 10 years. So I'm still working as an engineer at the moment.
And I have heard of Arm. And I know they deal with very small electronics, don't they? So could you just explain to us a little bit more about what they do and what you do as well?
Yeah. So Arm is a computer IP company. It's doing quite a lot of business, but if I introduce the core business, we're designing the computer architecture. And we're developing the chips. So we're designing the chips that are mostly used in mobile markets. So it's very likely that your mobile phone has one of the ARM or many of the ARM IPs in that. And so we don't fabricate chips. So we only design them and we ship them to our partners, and they will fabricate the chips and then they will get put into your phones. But yeah, that's what mostly ARM does. And I'm working in the CPU group. So we take the architecture that we developed from within ARM, and we kind of implement the architecture into a CPU, and then we ship the CPU into the customers, who will then actually build the CPU and then as a physical chip, and then put into the mobile phone. So
brilliant. And what does CPU stand for? Sorry, just for non-engineering students.
It stands for Central Processing Unit. So it's like the brain of any computer. It's a brain of any computers, basically.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
it's more of a control unit of all the electronic designs.
So you must have a wide variety of customer around the world.
So yeah, so it's like we have Arm actually has like probably 95% of the mobile market.
Yeah.
So most of the mobile phones and most of the mobile phones will have ARM CPUs in it, and also some of the laptops, like the new Apple laptops, and a lot of the like wearable designs, your smartwatch, or even your DTV, your smart refrigerator, or those kind of electric appliance. They will have one or more ARM chips in it. So yeah, so that's where we're mostly going into. But it's a very wide business. We also have business in the cloud, in the server. So
Yeah.
if you guys are familiar with, say, Amazon AWS or Google Cloud, so those cloud will have ARM chips in it as well.
Brilliant. And was this the type of work that you wanted to do when you decided what to study? Is this what you'd always planned to do?
Yeah, so I'm probably being a little lucky that in the sense that the stuff that I did in the university quite matched the stuff I'm doing at work.
Yes.
It's not like completely matching, but so during my master and PhD, I've been doing like the stuff that mostly related to CPU designs, microprocessor designs. And then that's very relevant to what ARM is doing. And I think Southampton, University of Southampton, especially ECS, has a very good reputation of having the courses that are very applicable to the industry work, so that it really helps a lot. So yeah, and where the difference is that when I was in the uni, I was mostly on the design side. So
Yeah.
I'm mainly doing the like microchips design and CPU designs as well, and that's in both of my master and PhD degrees. But when I switched to ARM, then I started doing verification. But it's not like switching my career, switching my area. It's still the same area. It's just slightly different stuff, but it's very relevant.
Yeah, it's the next stage, isn't it? So knowing about the design helps you in what you're doing with the implementation with the clients, I guess. So it sounds like you use a lot of what you studied and researched in your job. What do you think there's something specific from your course that got you the job, something that you'd done that the employer liked when you got your first position?
Yeah, I would say like most of the stuff that I did in uni helped a lot. I'm not sure which one is the most important one. The Obviously, I don't know whether the course still exists now, but I've done.
I think it's slightly different name, microelectronics.
Yeah, microelectronics. I think they might still have similar course because I know some of the lecturers are still there. And
yes.
So we had a course which we built in a group exercise, group coursework. We built a CPU from scratch. So that's a very hands-on coursework, and then we have like group of 4 or 5 people building a CPU. So we write codes and we do the physical implementation. And as far as I remember, one of the group actually even had their chip fabricated in one of the manufacturers. I can't remember which one it is, but it's really like you go through the whole process of you understand the whole process how to build a chip, and you understand all the aspects of it, and that helps a lot. And when you're in the interview, you're asked the questions, and you can demonstrate that you understand the whole process. So that was very useful. I think that was led by Ian McNally in ECS.
Yeah.
And in my PhD, obviously, I did something very, very relevant. I mean, I spent 4 years literally building a CPU. And then the job that I applied for is building a CPU, really. So
Yeah,
that's like
perfect.
spot on. Yeah, so I'm being a bit lucky with that. And we have, I mean, ARM is like this South. It's like it's got lots of graduates from Southampton, and
Yeah.
mostly because the courses in Southampton are really good, very practical, and you get a lot of on-hand experience in building chips, and it's really, really helpful.
Yeah, no, that there's definitely good industry relationships with some of our niche courses, aren't there? So I know you graduated, well, 2014, didn't you? So 11 years ago, the job market was different, especially for international students and visas. But could you tell us a bit about how you got the job? You know, how did you find it and what the process was like?
Yeah, again, I think I'm the lucky one, to be honest, because I think that was the year when ARM was having a good year. I mean, it's had a good couple of years before I joined, so they know that the ECS in Southampton is quite good, so we have a very good reputation there. It's got a nickname, jokingly, it's like University of Southampton Company, because there's so many Southampton graduates there. So they actually came to Southampton.
Okay, so they
while
did
I
an
was studying.
on-campus recruitment.
Yeah, so I think that happened for a couple of years. I don't know whether they're still doing it now. Maybe they are. But my experience is that when I was in my final year of PhD, I think, maybe the third year, I think it's the third, probably the end of the third year, and they came to Southampton to basically do the interview. So there are a couple of employees traveled to Southampton, and they did the first round of interview at the university.
Yeah.
And then so basically you submit. They will let you know that they're coming, and you submit your CV if you're interested. And I did the interview there. So I did 2 rounds of I think first round interviews, like an hour each, and then I got admitted to the second round, where I then came to Cambridge in the campus. I did a 4-day. I think at the time it's called a graduate
assessment center.
Assessment something. But it's 4 days, like from 9 to 5.
Wow.
So it's not that intensive as it sounded. It's quite interesting. You have different. I had 2 interviews during the day. I think 2 1-hour interviews again, and then other than that, we have some group works where we all the applicants, they are grouped together, and we I think we did some like online live programming and programmed some robots and robot cars and running through the tracks and things like that. And we have some we were given some introductions of the company, and we're giving opportunities to ask questions and things like that. So that is the whole process. So it's basically 2 rounds of interviews. The first round at the university, the second round is at the company, the whole day process.
Yeah, very pre-COVID that is, isn't it? In person. I think
it was long before COVID.
Things are different now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds excellent. Thank you so much. That's really good insight. And we've got some questions for you, which I'll come back to at the end. They're in the chat. Or if you wanted, you could maybe write, if you can see the chat, you could write an answer if you wanted. I'm going to move down the panel so we can hear from everyone, and then we'll come back to questions. So thank you so much, Young Lim.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move on to Uyao Sun.
Yes,
hello.
It's Uyao. Hi.
Uyao. Could you introduce yourself, please, and tell us what you studied and when you graduated?
Yes, of course. Hi everyone. I'm Yue and currently working in merger and acquisition at SSE. So SSE is a renewable generation company. We have generation across GB, Ireland, and also the EU. And my current job is doing graduate rotation placements. So since 2023, I think, I've started my 2 years of placements in different departments. For example, I was in customer solution, looking at the flexibility of energy use in domestic air island. And also I was in group strategy, looking at the strategy plan for supply chain and sustainability and a wide range of topics. And right now in merger acquisition, we acquire projects, mainly solar and battery for our company's portfolio. And I graduated in Southampton 2021. I was studying MSc Sustainability, so it's quite close to what I study. Very renewable is also like sustainable as well, which was mainly the reason why I chose to go into this field. But when it comes to day-to-day work-wise, is very different from what I studied. Um, but yeah, it's also a very good change because in in the area that I'm studying, for example, environmental assessment, environmental consultancy, I realized it was very rare that they will offer foreigner this area job if they are
Yeah.
not engineers. So I think it's a very reasonable change of plans and also doing something that I like to do.
Yeah, that sounds excellent. So you're on a graduate scheme, are you, at the moment, being rotated?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
fantastic. It's nice to hear of international students on graduate schemes because I don't know many that are securing graduate schemes at the moment. What was can you tell us how you found the job and what it was like, the recruitment process?
Um, so I saw the job post on LinkedIn, LinkedIn and Indeed, and some other website like similar ones that are mainly the ones that I look out for. And then the graduate scheme process, I think is very similar to these big four consultancies ones. So you have the
Yeah,
online application, you do the online assessment, and for us, we only have a like like a group assessment. So
yeah.
basically, they give you a topic, you need to do a presentation, and then discuss with some other peers, and then they give you the ratings, and also finally the formal interview with a few like managers and HRs.
Ah, and as an international student, I'm sure everyone here wants to know, was there any how did the visa issues get approached? Did they ask you about visas and what visa did they put you on?
So in my year, I think they started the PSW,
Yeah,
um, and our company was offering working visa as well. So
yeah,
as soon as we started working, they switched our visa to the work visa.
yeah. The
Yes,
skilled worker
so
visa.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
so that was
fantastic.
all right.
Yeah, I bet you were pleased with that and um it that was just before the salary increase for the skilled worker visa as well. So aware
Yeah,
that
yeah.
things were a little bit easier then with visas. Okay, and so do you have any special tips or, insights for our current students that are looking at graduate schemes?
Um, I would say make sure you understand which companies are offering the work visa before you apply as well. And because I personally have also encountered like many situations where like I applied, but they don't offer the visa for that specific role. So I
Yes.
think that's one thing. And also, you don't always have to do what you studied for because there are like a lot of possibilities in your life. If the area you study at doesn't necessarily lead to a job, and you do want to have a life like in the UK, or you enjoy your friends here, there's always tons of a way. You don't have to like just stick to one thing.
Yeah, so I suppose for you, you didn't really plan to do this job originally, but it was something that you really enjoy that you found out about.
Yeah, because I was doing more of the environmental project side when I graduated. So as soon as I graduated, I went to do an internship in Geneva with the United Nations, and that was more on the environmental side.
Yeah.
But I think at there I realized there's not just one thing I could do to pursue what I always wanted. So yeah.
Yeah. That's excellent. Yeah, so in the UK, most graduate schemes will accept a range of different degrees, won't they? I mean, that can make things more difficult because it can mean it's more competitive. Um, but I'm just putting into the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, it can make it more too much choice, can't it? Um, I'm just putting into the chat a link for a resource, which is a e-learning module that has data on which UK graduate employers sponsored skilled worker visas last year, straight from student visa. So that's quite a useful resource for anyone in this group that, like you just said, to find out which employers do sponsor visas so that you don't waste your time applying to ones that aren't going to sponsor for graduate roles, because a lot of employers, they don't sponsor visas for graduate schemes. They only do for the experience type roles. So hopefully this resource can help. Okay, thank you so much. I think we have some questions coming in for you, which if you can see the chat, have a look. If not, we'll come back at the end. Let's move now, I think, to Jiao Shongju.
Nice
Thank
try,
you.
Gemma.
Tell me the correct. Tell me the correct.
Oh, you did very well. It's Xiao Tong. Xiao Tong.
Oh, Jiao Tong. Okay, almost there. I am learning. I had my pinyin chart earlier that I was practicing on. I'm not very good, but I will learn. So yeah, please tell us all about yourself, what you studied and what you're doing now.
All right. Okay. I've studied the PhD course in educational studies, of course, at the School of Education.
Yeah,
I finished my course, I think it's difficult, so 2017-ish,
yeah.
2017. Yeah, because it's been a while. Um, my career is all in academia. I've been working for different universities as a research fellow, a postdoc research fellow, and then senior lecturer. Recently, I decided to leave academia because I wanted to know what else I can do
Oh,
outside of that, outside university sector, and I also wanted to work in make sure my work has a kind of broader impact. So I recently joined a independent research kind of charity or consultancy unit, and the whole work is about improving outcomes for young people. Yeah, and I'm currently a senior evaluator or senior researcher there. Yeah, it's my experience.
that's interesting. So you started with an academic career and you've just made a change.
Yes, I did. Yes,
Yeah,
it was
okay. And
it's not an easy decision to make.
no, I bet it isn't.
Mm.
And are you glad you made that decision?
Let's put it in this way. I don't feel regret yet. I still think it's the right decision, although it's a difficult decision because although higher education sector or academia and what I'm doing now is kind of related, it's not entirely, and I'm still doing research.
Yeah,
It's not entirely like separate or independent, but it's a lot of,
yeah,
as you can imagine, a lot of cultural changes
yeah,
and mindset change as well.
yes. So I expect you still work with the universities,
I do. I work a
probably.
lot with universities,
Yeah,
but also currently, the partners also include like public sector and governments and funding charities, those, so it's broader, whilst previously university is mainly funding councils, also some sort of government bodies as well. It's broader partnership.
So you have to reach the requirements for the funding as well, don't you? Some kind of targets to think about now, and figures and things, and outputs and outcomes.
It has always been part of my job since my PhD, to be honest, but the context has been very difficult, and the nature of the project is slightly different as well. And obviously, in the charity sector, you just you've got to be more competitive in terms of remain competitive, whilst the university, the most recent the unit I worked at university was a research institute. It's quite, we operated quite independently in a sense for research income, but we did have kind of internal duties to kind of deliver. For example, I was supervising PhDs, postgraduate research students, etc. We do teach, so it's internal duties as well. So now my current job is all mostly external facing. So
okay, that's interesting to hear. And I think with our two PhD graduates here, you probably have more time to decide what you want to do, and when you commit to a PhD, you probably have more of an idea about the career choice that you want. So was an academic career something you'd planned for quite a long time?
Quite a long time is overstatement, I guess. I don't know to what extent people, our students here resonate with what I'm going to say. I think I was raised up in a very typical kind of middle class family, which means most of the planning was done by my parents when I was much younger, and my kind of study pathway or academic pathway was very straightforward, that kind of direct, which means I didn't have the chance to have a gap year to think through what I want for my career, that kind of thing. Which turns out to be it's something that I wish I had the chance, but I just didn't at that time. So when I started my PhD, and I was so conscious that what I'm studying, the subject I'm studying, educational studies, I just didn't know what else I can do. I don't know. I just what I know is that it's not quite applied area of kind of, it's not a very applied subject. People will suggest, oh, you can be a teacher in the school sector, schooling sector, or you can join some education consultancy companies, etc., etc. But because I wanted some, I just feel, and of course academic work is part of the, it is one of the common choice as well. So it's not a choice, I'd say. It's just that all things add up, coming together. It seems to be a natural or informed choice at that time. And I was lucky in terms of get my first postdoc job. I did my first postdoc job at Southampton without even moving office, because I served about 2.5 years for School of Education. I just joined the project and had my postdoc job there. It was a very competitive in terms of application, in terms of getting the job. It's an open call. I was not invited, I was not nominated, etc. I'm lucky that I got the job, but part of the reason was I have always been an active student. And I tried to kind of grab every possible opportunity to get more broader experiences. Because as a PhD student, you can work in a silo in silo if you don't try. So I built up networks. I tried I was the student rep for the PhD community for a year, and I think I attended some kind of community activities, etc. And that all helps, all add up. It's not just the degree itself. It's not the module. It's not the assessment outcome. It all matter, but it's not the only thing that matter.
So
I've got the job. I was lucky.
Yeah, I think in academia connections are really important, aren't they? Because
Network.
not everything's advertised, is it? So I have quite a few students asking me how they can get involved with research or with things that are going on, and really we just direct them to the research groups page on the website's really good because it lists all the academics in the research groups, and you can directly approach academics, can't you, and ask them, and they normally have work. They're just not going to advertise it. They have things going on, don't they, all the
Yeah.
time?
Whilst my first job was advertised openly, because they have to. They have to. That's part of the rule.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. I didn't know. I didn't know until I think I was approaching the third or second year of my PhD. But I have a vague idea that, okay, perhaps academics or lecturers, they don't mind if you approach them, or
yeah,
networking is very important. But having worked in academia for about, I don't know, 8 years, and having supervised quite a number of students on my own, and I can tell you now, yes, you're right. We don't mind as long as you got a purpose.
yeah,
Because academics are they're very busy people, and everybody's busy. Everybody got lots on. You just because what I found that not necessarily very productive is students coming talk to me without necessarily kind of a full clear sense of direction what they want from me. They just
yeah,
want to loose talk. That is something
yeah,
that I perhaps don't have time for.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yes, but if you approach me, for example, say I want this and that, and do you mind help me in this way, that and that, I can make a decision. That's fine.
yeah,
Networking is absolutely important, but bear in mind, a lot of opportunities coming in a very informal way, not
yeah,
through the more formal kind of channels like research pages, that kind of stuff. For example, I don't know whether that still exists at the moment at the University of Southampton, but when I was there used to be some weekly cafe catch-ups in the SU building. I think
yeah.
somewhere like
There
that.
are different. There's lots of different pockets of cafe catch-ups.
Just
Yeah,
go, just go. What
yeah,
can you lose?
yeah. Different schools run different things like that. So
Yeah,
it's good to look in your faculty because they do advertise it within the faculties and the schools. They all do their own thing. And you're right that just go to things. You just say and be careful with your time, but go to
exactly.
things because you only need one good contact and conversation and something will happen, won't it?
Yeah. And I when I was a student, I also organized because I played badminton back at that time quite a lot. I
Yeah,
organized badminton kind of team,
yeah,
or playing sessions. Gradually, it started with a very small group, the people I know, but people bring more people, and then gradually have a kind of a wider network. So it's how you know people, and you feel less isolated, and you kind of support each other, and then and the whole network bring different news opportunities. That's very helpful.
yeah. No, that's brilliant. Thank you. That's such good. That's really good insights into getting into an academic career because it's very unique academia, isn't it? It's not like the rest of the world of work, and the entry routes can be slightly different. And you do need to be really good networkers, which doesn't often come naturally if you're really good at research. Sometimes it's two different
It's
skills,
quite the
isn't it?
opposite, because as a
Yeah,
researcher, you got to be very focused.
yeah,
You want a very focused time and peaceful time to think. Whilst the network, yes, I don't think I'm a master of networking, but because of the nature of my job, I'm conscious that I need to continuously improve my skill sets within that domain, which is something I've been working on. So I'm getting a lot better. But yes, but yeah, it's something you need to continuously work on building.
yeah. It sounds like you've done a good job so far. And I think actually the main part of effective networking is the research part that comes in first. So finding out who are the right people and finding out, like you said, what you want to say to them. And then the talking's really the small part. And if you're not good, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're researching, finding out who the right people are and getting in front of them, that's the main part, isn't it? Okay, well, thank you so much. That was great to hear. There's probably questions coming in for you. We'll come back to them, but I just want to go back to the first person on the pictures. So Xuan Wang. How was that?
Yeah, hello. Hi. Yeah, sorry about that. It seems like internet's problem or things like that. I was just waiting in the hall for 5 minutes. Yeah,
Oh,
no worry about
sorry.
everything.
Oh,
Yep.
sorry. We did want you to come in. We welcomed you. Yeah,
Yeah,
please
no
go
worry
ahead
about
and
that.
introduce yourself.
Hello, hi. My name is Shushan, and you can call me Jerry. And I was graduate in BSc Accounting and Finance, I think in 2021 as well. And currently I'm the HR officer at Winnie UK Limited.
Ah, brilliant. So what year did you say you graduated? Sorry.
I think in 2020 actually.
Okay.
It's actually yeah.
Okay.
I
Our
think
most
it's
recent.
from yeah. It sounds recent.
Yeah,
Bear with
yeah.
me. It really needs some memory to memorize which year I
2021.
graduated. Yeah, it
I've
should be
got
2021.
2021 here.
Yeah, that's it.
Um,
That's it. That's it.
okay, so that was a difficult year. So that was the COVID years. So tell
That
us.
was the COVID year. Yeah, and after the bachelor degree, I went to University of Bristol for the master degree. And
Yes.
after that, I took several months of gap and then to finally get these positions here.
Ah, so what did you study for masters?
Finance and investment.
Okay, so you use the masters to specialize um, in finance and investment, and then how did you go from there to HR? Tell us.
Yeah, it's a long story actually. So, well, firstly, at my bachelor degree, I studied accounting and finance, and when I applying for the master degree, so when I applied for the master course, I found that I'm more interested in the finance. So
Yeah.
for the master course, is purely out of interest to choose the finance investment, and after that, I just took a few months of gap and rethink what I need and. End up with I really need the opportunity to work in the UK, and I really want to stay in the UK for a while and working in any industry that I don't care at the time. So finally, end up here as the human resource officer at Winnie UK Limited, and found out until now everything went good, and I'm still interested in to move forward and maybe expand more in human resource or back to finance in the future. Who knows?
Oh, brilliant. So this is interesting actually, because when people are making career decisions with international students,
Mhm.
sometimes you need to decide what your priority is, and your priority was you wanted to stay in the UK. So then that
Yeah.
automatically is going to reduce your choices, isn't it? Because of the visa restrictions. So you just have to focus on getting the first job in the UK and then work out maybe if you can change later. So that became your priority, that you knew you wanted to work in the UK. And that's the situation for lots of people, isn't it? You might not get your first career choice in your first job. You have to be a bit smart, don't you? And work around the system.
Well, yeah, it's kind of tricky actually. It's hard to
Yeah.
say that's my first interest in finance or things like that because at the any time during the 4 years in bachelor or master, I have literally no idea of which industry I would like to work in to go move forward. I studied accounting and finance based on my family choice and studied finance investment because I'm more interested in more quantitative stuff. So and I think that one of the most important thing is that when you don't know where to move forward, you just move forward. You just move forward. You just select the direction or select any opportunities to absorb every resource that's available to you and go move forward. Just move the step, and there are always a final next step that you're gonna achieve.
Yeah, that's great advice for all graduates, isn't it? Because you don't really know until you start doing something what you like, and
Yeah.
then about 10 years later you find out what you really like, don't you?
Yeah,
um,
never know. It's never too late.
no, exactly. So I think everyone wants to hear then how you got the job. So tell us what happened. Where did you find it? What was the recruitment process like?
Yeah, I found this actually from an internal referral. And as I said, that's networking is important. And
Yeah.
it's actually through a referral. And one of my friends offered me this opportunity, and who
Ah.
from the person from the person who he knows. And
Mhm.
yeah, and for me as a HR, And I do a lot of advertisement on Indeed, Reads, Total Jobs, and LinkedIn as well. So I may advise every graduate to find opportunities on every website. Please make sure that you do register your CV or your resume on every website, because sometimes due to the strategy or due to the option the company made, we may just register or go continue with certain platform in certain years. So sometimes the advertisement you find on certain website may be already expired, but try another platform.
Okay, that's good, because we have a double guest. We have a alumni careers, but also a recruiter. So this is extra
Yeah.
2 for 1. So that's interesting, because so you would suggest uploading the CV to the different websites because you search the back end, do you? You search the CV database?
We do search the CV database, and from the CV database, everything we can see is there will be a short brief on your resume. That will be a title, or previously working in your place where you're working before, and the time that's for that position. But there will also be a short brief for the experience that will be from top to down. So if you read your resume, please make sure that you write the most important results or achievements on the first few like rows of the each one experience, and definitely the most important one from the top.
Yeah, excellent. That's brilliant recruitment advice. Maybe we'll bring you in for a recruitment panel one day as well.
Yeah, I would already interested in join.
So as an international candidate then, did the company have any questions about your visa status or anything?
For our company, that we are a China mainland based head office in China mainland.
I wondered.
Yeah, so that's another key. That's your skills of speaking Mandarin is really important for the company that head office located in China mainland, especially when you require to communicate with the head office and the local employees or customers together. So that's really a key skill that you need to be really value yourself at. And yeah, about the sorry again, what's the question? I may go a little bit too far.
I was just wondering, because it sounded very easy how you got the job, and I just wondered if the employer had any questions about the visa. But now you've said it's a global company, I understand that they wanted your language skills and international status. That was a selling point.
Yeah, it's an international company, and I'm not sure that if our company listed in the list that you provided earlier. But one of the advice is that when you check in with the list of all this stuff, all the company that can support the graduate visa, you may also interest to ask the HR if they have the certification to sponsor the visa, because some company like us, we did. And we do sponsor the visas, either from graduates or from PSW, from all kinds of visa that we can do. And the only thing that make the HR, make the staff, make the company think that you are valued to allure us to offer you the visa, because that do cost a little bit from the company side, but your skills is more valued from the background.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. And I hope we can connect as well for you to recruit our students. So we'll be in touch after that to save you any cost, because that's excellent.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, it's so great to hear from you. Well, let's go back and see if we have any questions in the chat. So, and I know we have got questions. Okay, so there was a question here, probably for Yonglin, maybe for others. Many graduates find that the tools and technologies they used at university are not widely used in industry. How could we bridge this gap? I mean, that's quite a broad question. I don't know if this person's talking about any specific tools or technologies, but do you have any advice on that? We have LinkedIn Learning now. We pay for that, so students can use LinkedIn Learning for things like that.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think that's the most important thing in my opinion, because I mean, most employees, they won't expect you to know a lot about things for a graduate role. So what they're looking for is actually whether you are passionate about the work, whether you're you have the mindset of doing the work. So we won't be looking for, say, no one would expect you to, like in first week of job, just getting some tasks done. As that's just not realistic. So what you want to do is to build your interest, to build your mindset, and to know how the things work. You don't need to really know any specific tools that are used in the industry, because things are moving so fast. Even I've been in the industry for 10 years, and I'm continuously learning. I have to do that. I'm pretty sure that the tools I know how to use now won't be applicable in, say, another 2-3 years time. So there's no point of chasing that. But the first principles are still the same. So the tools are just the tools, and you just need to know how to use it. And especially, I mean, people are all aware that the AI stuff is happening. And I mean, the skills of using tools will become, the skills of using any particular tools, in my opinion, will become less and less important. It is the mindset, it is the ability of learning things, is your interest, is your you understand the underlying principle of the technology is what's important, in my opinion. So don't worry too much about that. People won't expect you to know any particular tools. It might be useful if you are looking for experienced position, because sometimes some employees, they have a very urgent task. They're looking for people to get it done immediately. So they will probably prioritize looking for people who can do the work straight away. But for graduate roles, I don't think many employees are looking for anything like that.
Yeah, thanks. That's great advice. Yeah, I think you're right. There are lots of the graduate schemes, they look for potential, so the right sort of open mindset that you're willing to learn new things rather than saying, I don't know how to use that. Yeah, yes. We have a question?
No, it's not a question. It's not a question. Just to yes, comment, or just to build up on what just been said by Yang Ling, and I absolutely agree with what has been said. New graduate students, as a new graduate students, we need to think more outside of the box. Don't think narrowly. Yes, technology, innovation happens every day. Having worked in different roles, different organizations for nearly a decade, I'm still learning. There are a lot of technology softwares that I'm still learning, and I absolutely hate them, but I have to. But it's part of professional development. That's one mindset to have. It's, as I said, it's all about broader skill sets and experiences. It's about yourself, how your past experiences could contribute to, or your personality, or you as a person, as a human being, how you could contribute the role, the job description, as outlined in the job description. That's the mindset you got to have. It's not about a specific detail about, or whether my current module, this topic discussed in my module, whether that is applicable to the role, whether this technology applicable. I think it's narrow thinking.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's really hard to demonstrate, isn't it, in an interview, 1 hour, if you know everything that you can do. So I think what you guys have been talking about in terms of getting in front of employers, any sort of work experience, or even the short work experiences, are better opportunities to demonstrate your potential. Oh yes, please. Uye-san? Oh, sorry, you're just on mute. There we go.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I just want to add in one example that I can think of when I was doing interview with SSE. So the process is they ask us to do a presentation on one topic, and as a part of the presentation, I was adding a bit of like the comment with the sustainability work the company is doing as well. So I think that kind of links to what I studied as well. And then it's also good to demonstrate why I wanted to choose the company and why I believe in like the work they do. It's also part of the interview process that they want to know, okay, why do you choose us? So yeah, I do recommend if you are preparing for an interview, look at the company's annual report, look at what kind of value they want you to have. Yeah, it's just some basic advice.
Thank you. That's great because you've quite recently gone through the graduate recruitment scheme as well. Right, there's quite a few questions at the beginning from Masood here about sort of practical recruitment stuff. So I don't know if anyone has any answers to these, but does anyone have any tips on how you've used LinkedIn effectively for networking? That's one of the questions. Yeah.
I do use LinkedIn because professionally, that's a good platform to get connected with people you know or you don't know, but people who share common interests in my background is like common interests in some research areas. That's a good way to build up your networks, professional networks. But I never use LinkedIn for job hunting because for the kind of industry or nature of the job I'm holding, I found it's less effective using LinkedIn. Yeah, so I only use it for networking and get myself out there as well.
Brilliant. Thank you. The second question, I think, would suit, and we haven't got long left, and this is actually a big subject, but I think this would be a good question for Xuan. Oh, you have your hand up anyway. The question about, there's a question here that says, what are the most common mistakes graduates make in job applications?
Well, I'll come to the second question later, but
Yes.
some advice on LinkedIn.
Oh, thank you.
Please make sure that when you making your LinkedIn profile include all the possible informations in it, and when you apply another position, please make sure that you upload your whole resume, but not your LinkedIn just your LinkedIn profile, because when you click the easy apply on LinkedIn, from the employer side, we can see your whole profile and the cover letter or other kind of documents that you uploaded there. And make sure that there will be a screening question. Make sure that you answer all of them truthfully and honestly, please. And another advice on LinkedIn, that's about the posting part. Maybe you would like to do a lot of postings, but don't be hesitate to do the postings when you are looking for a new position, when you are looking for something like new opportunities, or when you're looking for some help in certain industry. Never shame to post it online, and when your alumni see it, when your co-workers saw it, they know that you need some help in certain parts. And if they have the opportunities, or if they have the resource in hand, they will reach you in second, because that the industry work, that we are happy to help each other about reaching their career goal. And we are really glad that we can have this platform to actually move forward. And about this second question about the graduate scheme, the biggest mistake is like candidates always narrow themselves too harsh. That when you're applying for the graduate scheme, you're always focusing on certain industry or certain directions, that you may want to expand your eyes and to have a look on the other industries, and maybe not the graduate scheme, but the position that's available based on your background, that will be also available for you. And lots of the companies, especially the SMEs, they have when you need the visa, they have their visa certification, sponsor certification to do sponsor your visa. And the SMEs, they are sometimes less competitive when you're applying for their vacancies there.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. So understandably, international candidates come to the UK and they know all the big names. But they're the ones that have hundreds and thousands of applications. But what we worked hard to do in our department is try and get and find out which smaller companies exist with the smaller names that people haven't heard of. And they're really keen on hiring actually international talent, especially on the graduate visa for the short-term contracts, which you can use to build your experience for 2 years. And then you can go in at an experience level. So that's a really good strategy, but it does take some work. And LinkedIn's great for that, to try and find these smaller companies, because we don't know them. We don't, there's so many in Southampton, even at the science park. We've got all these small technology companies, the consultancies, the charities as well. And yeah, that's a really good strategy to include. Don't just focus on the big four and the big names, because most of us get rejected from them. If you look at the numbers, you're all quantitative students, most of you. Your chance with these big companies is very small for even the top grads. So don't forget the SMEs. That's such a good point. Thank you. Right, if there's no more questions, I'm going to stop the recording now, and then we'll just have 1 minute for if anyone didn't want to speak on the recording. So I'd like to thank the panel so much. We really, really appreciate this. I will all email you separately to invite you to an in-person fun mixer for alumni that we're having in May, with refreshments that we can meet properly. So I'll send you the invite for that. Everyone here is welcome as guests as well. I will stop the recording now. So thanks everyone for coming and listening and speaking. Thank you.